In 2012, Whitney Houston's sudden death stunned the entire world of music and cinema. At her memorial service, Kevin Costner delivered a deeply emotional eulogy that still lives in people's hearts today. What made his words so powerful was that he ignored rumors and speculation about their relationship and instead focused on the undeniable truth of how profoundly Whitney had touched his life and the lives of so many others. Kevin Costner said that Whitney was not just a singer, she was a divine gift. When she was cast in The Bodyguard, many doubted whether she could succeed as an actress. But Kevin believed in her without hesitation. He recalled how Whitney faced her own fears and insecurities and stepped in front of the camera with courage. That bravery, combined with her dedication and extraordinary voice, transformed her into an unforgettable force. In his eulogy, Kevin made it clear that gossip and public curiosity never defined Whitney. Her true identity lived in her voice and in her soul. He reminded everyone that what truly matters is not what people say or think, but who a person really is and what they leave behind. Through those words, he showed that Whitney was not merely a co-star to him, but a deep source of inspiration. Kevin also spoke about how, when Whitney sang, it felt as though she wasn't simply performing. She was speaking directly from her soul. Her voice carried pain, love, strength, and hope all at once. That voice brought tears to countless people, and for many, became a reason to keep going. In his final farewell, Kevin Costner's words were especially heartbreaking. He acknowledged that Whitney's journey on Earth had not been easy, but her voice and her influence would live on forever. It was as if he was speaking to her directly, saying, "Rest now. Your work is done. We will go on listening to your songs and remembering you." This eulogy was more than a tribute to a global icon. It was a sincere expression of love, respect, and gratitude from one human being to another. That is why Kevin Costner's words, like Whitney. The story behind the timeless 1992 film The Bodyguard is far more fascinating than many people realize. Contrary to popular belief, the movie was not originally written for Whitney Houston or Kevin Costner. Its origins go back many years earlier and were envisioned for two entirely different stars. The original concept and script were developed in the 1970s, with music icon Diana Ross and Hollywood legend Steve McQueen in mind. The story centered on a world-famous female performer and her quiet, devoted bodyguard. An intense relationship filled with unspoken emotions, closeness mixed with distance, and love that could never be fully expressed. However, fate had other plans. For various reasons, the project failed to move forward. Steve McQueen's declining health and his death in 1980 effectively brought the original plan to an end. Even after that, the script continued to circulate in Hollywood for years. Many studios considered it too risky, too restrained, or commercially uncertain, and as a result, it was repeatedly rejected. While exact numbers vary, it is widely acknowledged that dozens of studios turned the script down over several decades. Everything changed in the late 1980s, when Kevin Costner emerged as one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Following the success of Dances with Wolves, he held significant influence as both an actor and producer. That was when he revived the Bodyguard script and decided he wanted to make the film himself. Costner had one crucial condition, one that surprised many at the time. He insisted that Whitney Houston be cast as the female lead. Whitney was already one of the most successful singers in the world, but she had no major film acting experience. Studio executives were hesitant and questioned whether a singer could carry such a demanding leading role. Kevin Costner ignored the doubts. He believed that Whitney's presence, personality, and extraordinary voice made her the perfect choice for the character. He not only stood firm on casting her, but also supported her throughout the production, encouraging her and helping build her confidence. History proved that decision was the right one. Upon its release, The Bodyguard became a massive global success. The film's popularity was matched and in many ways surpassed by its soundtrack, especially I Will Always Love You, which went on to become one of the most iconic songs in music history. Most importantly, the success of The Bodyguard was not an accident. It was a triumph of a long-ignored story, the result of one actor's unwavering belief, and the journey of a singer who broke through her limits to create a new identity on the big screen. For these reasons, the film is more than just a romantic thriller. It is one of Hollywood's most powerful true stories of belief, persistence, and vision. Whitney initially did not want to act. She was afraid that critics would attack her before even giving her a fair chance as an actress. It was only after Kevin Costner personally called her and reassured her that she finally agreed to take on the role. Under pressure from the studio, Whitney was required to do a screen test. That day, she was feeling extremely insecure. Costner later recalled that Whitney had put on extra makeup to make herself look more beautiful, but under the studio's hot lights, it began to melt. In that moment, Costner realized that despite being such a huge star, Whitney was, at heart, very down-to-earth and deeply anxious about her work. The iconic song, "I Will Always Love You," was not originally planned for film. At first, a different song was chosen for that moment in the movie. However, as the creative process evolved, it became clear that Whitney's voice carried a depth of emotion that no other song could capture. When "I Will Always Love You" was finally selected and recorded in her powerful yet tender style, it transformed the scene completely. The song did more than support the film. It defined it. In the end, Whitney's voice turned that choice into history, creating one of the most unforgettable moments in both film and music. When Whitney Houston was going through one of the most difficult periods of her life, especially during her struggle with substance addiction, Kevin Costner quietly tried to be there for her. He later spoke about this sensitively in several interviews. Costner explained that he did not want to interfere directly in Whitney's life or publicly lecture her. Instead, from the place of a colleague and friend, he wrote her several personal letters. Those letters carried words of encouragement, belief, and above all, a deep reminder of Whitney's value and talent. Kevin wanted her to know that she was not only a superstar, but also invaluable as a human being. However, Costner honestly admitted that he never knew whether Whitney actually read those letters. She never replied to them. Still, he did not stop writing. For him, receiving a response was not the point. The effort was. He believed that sometimes trying to help someone simply means letting them know that they are not alone. This story reveals an important side of Kevin Costner's character. He understood that the fight against addiction, no matter how it may look on the outside, is deeply lonely and frightening on the inside. So instead of judging or pressuring her, he reached out with compassion, respect, and quiet support. Sadly, Whitney's struggles did not end in her lifetime. But whether those letters were read or not, they stand as proof of one truth. Whitney was deeply loved not only by her fans, but also by those who worked closely with her. And Kevin Costner's silent empathy remains a powerful reminder that true friendship often exists beyond the spotlight, fulfilling its role quietly and without expectation. At Whitney Houston's funeral, Kevin Costner delivered words that became some of the most remembered lines of the entire ceremony. Standing before her family, friends, and the world, he said with quiet conviction, "Whitney, you weren't just good enough. You were great." In another deeply poetic moment, he described her as God's newest angel, a new treasure welcomed into heaven. These words were not spoken for drama or headlines. They reflected a bond that went far beyond what audiences saw on screen. Costner spoke as someone who had witnessed Whitney not only as a global icon, but as a vulnerable, hardworking, and deeply human person. In his eulogy, Costner acknowledged that Whitney's journey had not been easy. Fame came early, expectations were overwhelming, and the world was often unforgiving. Yet he emphasized that none of those struggles could diminish who she truly was. To him, Whitney's worth was never measured by critics, gossip, or mistakes. It was defined by her spirit, her voice, and her heart. When Costner called her a new asset to heaven, he was gently reframing loss into meaning. He suggested that while the world had lost something irreplaceable, heaven had gained something extraordinary. It was his way of saying that Whitney's gifts were eternal, and that her voice and soul belonged to something far greater than earthly judgment. This moment also revealed the truth behind their relationship. On screen, the Bodyguard showcased one of cinema's most iconic chemistries, restrained, emotional, and unforgettable. But in real life, what they shared was not romance or spectacle. It was mutual respect, trust, and a deep protective friendship. Costner had believed in Whitney when many doubted her. He defended her, encouraged her, and never reduced her to rumors or headlines. The video of that funeral speech reminds us that their connection was rooted in dignity. Costner did not speak about Whitney. He spoke to her. His words sounded like a final promise, that she would be remembered not for her struggles, but for her greatness. In the end, his farewell made one thing clear. The chemistry audiences admired on screen was powerful, but the real story was even stronger. Behind the cameras existed a friendship built on belief, loyalty, and genuine admiration. And that quiet, respectful bond may be one of the most beautiful legacies of The Bodyguard and of Whitney Houston's life itself. The behind-the-scenes truth of Kevin Costner and Whitney Houston was perhaps unknown to many. Let us know in the comments how you liked the video. Also, feel free to write which star's untold life story you'd like to hear in our next video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. See you in the next video. Stay well